Hey everybody, this is that German guy Josh Runquist, and I'm here with Matt Harvey from Exhumed, who's just about to be hitting the stage here at the Amsterdam in St. Paul, Minnesota. How's it going?
Very good, man. Going awesome. Stoked to be back in Minnesota.
Yeah, this is actually my second time seeing you.
Cool.
The first time was down in Milwaukee for Summer Slaughter back in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We actually met up there after you guys played and did about a 20-minute interview. It was pretty fun to do.
It sounds like rambling incoherently, which is my normal state, so that's good.
Yeah, it was one of my first interviews, so it was really cool.
Oh, cool. Hopefully I broke you in easy.
Absolutely. So it's great to see a part of this package. How did it come about?
Well, I mean, our agent is one of my oldest friends and somebody that it's really nice in this business or whatever you want to call it to have somebody that not only that you like and trust, but also that's reciprocated and they know kind of where you'd like to be. And he's like, "What do you think about Name on Death Voivod?" And I was like, "Wow, yeah, of course, man. Like, we want to do it." And so he's got our back and always seems to be able to find a tour that we're too excited about to turn down. And this is definitely one of those tours. So it worked out perfectly with the re-release of Gore Metal, or the re-recording of Gore Metal coming out. We needed something, we had an album, so we needed to go on tour, and couldn't really ask for a better package, so it was awesome.
It really is. This is easily one of the best metal lineups I've seen in a very long time.
And it's really cool, too, because, I mean, as much as I'm from California and I'm not into the snow and everything, I'm just not used to it. I think people are still this is one of the first tours that's really come through a lot of places since Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
So people are ready to come out, and every show is done better than expected, which is awesome. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, and as you can see, just like everybody here surrounding us right now, in between Ringworm and Iron Reagan, it's just like there's a lot of people here. It's really cool to see.
It's exciting, man. I mean, I think that Iron Reagan's got a lot of buzz coming up. And Ringworm has been around forever, and Rules, and Black Crown Initiate's a new band that's done a lot of touring, and so I think it's like a cool eclectic mix, and people are stoked about it, and that's really, when you're putting together a tour, it's the best thing you want is just butts in the seats. Going out and playing shows to nobody is not that fun.
Oh, exactly. Having done many of those shows, I can definitely agree.
It's tough, man.
Yeah, and of course, as you touched on before, you are touring behind one of the greatest albums in death metal and grindcore, the re-release of Gore Metal. So what made you decide to re-record Gore Metal?
Well, when we did it, I don't think anybody in the band really liked it very much. I've always thought it sucks, to be honest.
Really?
I like the songs, and just sonically, it's really tough to listen to, and I think we went in with a lot of naivete still, and kind of just, I don't know, it just felt like a blown opportunity, and at the time, there was a lot of internal tensions in the band, and people weren't getting along and stuff like that, and the sort of sonic messiness of that album, to me, has kind of become maybe emblematic of the unrest in my own personal life, or the band's evolution or whatever, and so it always has had sort of a negative association for me, and I knew we could do better even at the time, and so we went back and we didn't try to go too crazy. We did it, we actually recorded it a couple years ago, but because Necrocracy got delayed, we delayed doing that, and then Relapse said they wanted to do it as part of the 25th anniversary thing, so it got pushed back a little bit further, so now here we are. But when we did the re-recording, we had our original bass player, vocalist, Ross. He did vocals on it. Mike Beams, our old guitar player, played a couple of solos. It just wouldn't have been practical to have our original drummer, Cole, play on it, just because two different drummers, two different drum kits, two different studios. It wouldn't have sounded like an album. It would have sounded like all the songs sound the same, except this one sounds weird, I think. But he was very involved with putting the liner notes together and gave us his blessing, and he actually ended up really liking it. When I told him we were going to do it, he's like, "That's a stupid idea." And then he's like, "You do whatever you're going to do. We're still really close friends." And he's like, "Yeah, just do whatever you want." But I think it's dumb. If I was in a band, I wouldn't do it. And then when he heard it, he's like, I like this way better. Like, I'm glad you did it. Now I enjoy this album too. I was like, all right, cool. So to me, I mean, me and him are probably our toughest critics. So if we like it, then it's probably not that bad. I know people get mad when you're tampering with the past. You know?
Sure. Yeah, I've seen it on both sides where either people absolutely love the remake of Gore Metal, or there are like the hardcore fans. It's just like you shouldn't have ever messed with it.
Sure, and I respect that, you know.
Yeah, and with me, it's like I listened to them side by side. I listened to the original first, and then when I got the promo from Relapse, I listened to the new version, and I just absolutely love what you guys did with the remake.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, the main thing that I kept in mind while we were doing it is that I didn't want to make it too elaborate, and I didn't think of things in terms of like what I would do now, like the solos and the harmony parts and stuff like that. I was just like, nope, this is Gore Metal. Like, you don't do that here. You just let it be. I mean, I'm going to play a solo, and it'll be better than what I did in '98. I hope so, or else I'm in big trouble as a guitar player.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go in and overdub the little twiddly bits and the harmonies and make it super smooth. And we only did just the basic 2 rhythm guitar tracks, just like we did on the original. And we try to keep it really raw, but just audible. You know, that was the thing to me, is like, you can't even hear the riffs on the first one. And the drumming, and Cole will be the first one to say this, so I don't feel like I'm talking trash about the guys.
Right.
But like, the drumming is really bad, and the performance isn't good, and then the way that it was recorded made the performance even worse. And it was very frustrating for everybody, especially him probably most of all, hearing the songs with the toms gated wrong and the false kick drum hits being left in, and it was just, you know, it just sounds like a nightmare. And I totally respect that people like that, because In the Sign of Evil by Sodom is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah.
It's one of the sloppiest albums of all time. And I get it. I love Hellhammer, and I love, you know, the early Napalm Death stuff where timing is sort of not really adhered to very strictly. But I, you know, if I'm a fan of the band, I do enjoy hearing how they interpret stuff later. And, you know, if people don't, I completely get it. And that's why the CD has both. So that way we're not trying to get rid of the original or trying to supplant it. We're just trying to, you know, give you our take on it. Which you can take it or leave it. You still have the original record. We're never gonna like make that go out of print and put out the new one like Dave Mustaine and his weird Megadeth remasters that sound horrible.
That's right.
Like, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But it's just, this is our thing, and you know, hey, hopefully we're celebrating a record that people remember and like, you know.
Yeah. So, with this whole process, have you found a new appreciation for Gore Metal?
You know, I like the songs. Some of them I think are kind of goofy, but you know, I think the main thing that I got out of it was that, well, there's 2 main things. One is that I always, in my mind, like, I still feel the same as I did when I was a kid, you know? And I still think, like, basically our band sounds like, you know, Repulsion and Terrorizer and Napalm Death and KROCKS, really, mixed with, like, Creator and Slayer or whatever. And then, like, I don't really see any of our albums as different from any of the other ones. But then re-recording the stuff like Gore Metal, I was like, you actually have progressed a bit. Like, I didn't mean to. I didn't set out to, like, you know, get more musical or whatever. But I was like, we've definitely progressed as a band, which I'm proud of. But it was a weird realization because in my mind, I'm still thinking about, you know, the same, like, Carnage riffs I was thinking about in '91. So that was a trip. And the other thing that was cool is that with Ross being involved in it, like, when he left the band or was fired or whatever, like, there's a lot of acrimony and then a lot of competitiveness between Impaled and us, like, back in the day. And I feel like him taking part in an Exhumed record, whether or not it's a big deal to kids or whether or not they care, for me it's a big thing because I feel like there's some sort of official, like, putting the bad blood or whatever behind us and coming together and kind of turning the negative associations that I had with the album into something more positive for me personally. And whether or not that means jack to the people that listen to it, who knows? But to me, it's a big deal, so I'm excited about it.
Well, for me, it's actually a big deal too, because my favorite albums are from the bands that actually put out the music that they want to make, not the ones that the labels tell them to do or the ones that the fans appreciate. It's the ones where the band's actually making the music they want to make. And hearing everything right now about like everything, or at least from the sounds of it, like getting things settled and the bad blood's going away, that has like a whole new appreciation for it.
It's really cool, you know, like, again, whether or not it means the record's good, totally, who knows. But for me, it was a nice step to take, and like, just makes me feel better about the whole band dynamic going forward and what we've done in between. And you know, it's nice, man. It's kind of like, I don't sit around like jamming records all the time, like, check this out, man, that's my band. But I mean, I do listen to our stuff occasionally, and Gore Metal was always the one album that I didn't enjoy listening to. And now, for me, I enjoy listening to it again. And even the old one, I kind of enjoy listening to a little bit now. I still kind of chuckle when I hear it, but you know.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Well, also, along with the re-recording of Gore Metal, has there been any new ideas as far as the next Exhumed album?
Oh, yeah, we got a ton of ideas, man. Like, I have a bunch of songs written, a bunch of lyrics and ideas, and kind of go into the self-editing process. And usually I try to edit it as much as I can before I bring it to the other guys, so that it's basically a fully formed idea that just needs tweaks rather than an outline, because then it tends to bog the process down, and then writing an album takes a year instead of a few months. I'm really excited about it. I mean, we're going to be doing something that we haven't done before, which is difficult, you know, without changing our sound drastically or anything. Not like we're just not going to be like, you know, folk metal or whatever. But it is going to be something we haven't done before, and that alone just gets me interested and excited to work on it. So I've been, you know, sitting on my laptop in the van and editing the arrangements and editing the lyrics and going back over and over and over, and you know, so I'm excited about it, and hopefully we'll be ready to record before the end of the year, you know.
Oh, very cool. With the way you're describing it, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Cool, man. You know, I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
Especially because it's still kind of unofficialized, so I don't want to say I got this great plan and then we do something totally different and I look like an idiot, because I look like an idiot all the time. So I try to avoid it when I can help it.
Oh, sure. So with that in mind, at the end of the year, what are your plans between the end of this tour and the recording process?
We don't really have much, man. Like we toured so much in the last 3 years that, you know, on the one hand, it's nice to be home and all that stuff, but on the other hand, it's also like being in a band and playing for money. I mean, money is part of why we tour. To be honest, you know, let's be real.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I love playing, but I'm not going to get in a van and freeze my ass off for free.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've noticed is that for a while there, we were kind of giving too much supply and driving down the demand. And on this tour, we've been able to come to some places we haven't played in like a year. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, we're selling some T-shirts. Like, we don't usually sell this many T-shirts. Oh yeah, because we usually play every place 3 months, again and again and again and again. And I think that, you know, this sort of like building period where we're taking every tour with everybody or whatever, that has kind of come to a rest or whatever, you know. Especially for a band like us, there's a ceiling that you're gonna hit, and you know, we're never gonna be as big as Mastodon or Lamb of God or whatever. Our style of music's just not as marketable. That's right. The bottom line.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that we're heavier or we're cooler than them or they're cooler than us or whatever. It's just that, you know, it's just never going to sell as much.
Yeah, it's just a different style.
Right. So for us, I mean, I feel like we're in a good place, and that the time to kind of go out and push it really hard again won't be until we have another record. So we don't want to go out and kill ourselves on the road, because, you know, it's kind of a diminishing return. So this tour is great and it's been super awesome, and so we're feeling kind of good. After that, we don't have concrete plans. We'll just sort of see what comes our way and what makes sense, and you know, take it from there or whatever. I mean, I do love playing all the time, but it's just you know, it wears on you, like physically, just the sleep factor and the constant traveling. And you know, we took a lot more time off last year. I managed to lose like 20 pounds because I wasn't just drinking beer all day, every day. Amazingly, you know. So that kind of stuff is nice to not, you know, there's certain things on the road that are nice to be away from. As much as I love seeing friends that I don't usually see every night, but I love playing. So you know, trying to find a balance.
Yeah, it's good to find that right balance of supply and demand and how much your body's actually able to take.
Right. I mean, we're all getting older, man. I mean, I'm going to be 40 pretty soon. Our drummer's 41. So, like, you know, it's different than when you're 19 and you can just abuse yourself every night with no consequences. I miss those days.
Oh, the glory days. Well, I do hate to cut it short, but I can tell that Iron Reagan's just hooked out their sets, and we will not be able to hear each other once the set's going on.
And they're going to be awesome, so you should check them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up that I have not brought up yet?
Oh, just to say, hey, thank you for taking the time to talk to us and support the band. We really appreciate it. And, you know, the way I look at it is that whether you're coming to a show or you're doing a blog or you're doing a, you know, zine or a radio show or whatever, like, everybody makes the scene together, the bands, the fans, the press, and, you know, so we try to appreciate everybody's role in it and realize that without all of us, there's no any of us. So thanks. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that is just such a true point. Like with metal, I mean, with record sales and just like the underground feeling that metal is, like we are like a brotherhood and a family. Like we all got to stick together.
We all depend on each other, man.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it's like it's a symbiotic relationship, and that's it should be, man. Because you know nobody's an island, and unless you're Metallica, you don't need anybody at that point. You just say you're playing a show and 20,000 people show up, but the rest of us, you know, we're all interdependent, and it's cool. Like to me, it just makes everybody more important, and that's what a great thing. That's fucking positive as hell, you know?
Absolutely. And I'm glad that I can support you guys in any way I can, and I can't wait to see you guys right after Iron Reagan.
Cheers, man. We're psyched. Thanks, bud.
Oh, not a problem. Once again, that was Matt Harvey of Exhumed. Check out the re-release of Gore Metal through Relapse Records. And this is that drummer guy, Josh Ronquist. Thank you.
Aloha.